Hi to everybody. Welcome to this monthly lecture on African traditional spirituality. Congo spirituality includes a wide variety of concepts grouped around two areas of application, the divine practice and the human practice. This lecture aims to elucidate this wealth with regard to Palo and Bukôngo has two different schools of Congo spirituality. This elucidation will be attained through the interpretation of the divine initiatory process through the KONGO COSMOGRAM.
Welcome to the channel Zidaloba of Dr. Yaluka. To begin, please subscribe and tick the notification bell in order not to miss our videos. Thank you for joining.
The title of our lecture is From Palo to Bukôngo, the Wealth of Congo Spirituality. During the transatlantic crossing, one of the riches that the Congo people brought to America with was the reminiscence of their spirituality. However, they focused on the type of spirituality deemed necessary in the conflict circumstances they found themselves in the diaspora, the human practice of African traditional religion. This practice that the Congo people codified in Cuba in the different schools of Palo, Palo Mote, Palo Mayombe, Palo Briumba, etc., is essentially based on the use of human spirit and spirits of nature, the Bisimbi, plural of Simbi, in order to organize, protect, and elevate society. Thus, the Palo is a school of human Minkisi, plural of Nkisi, has power. And it is also this is school of human Bakisi, plural of Nkisi, has spirit. It is a school of Nseke, this material sphere of existence, which include the earth and its different waters. According to the practice of Congo spirituality, has found in the motherland, the use of demonic spirits was an exception, authorized only in case of war to protect the Black nation, and never for the purpose of retaliation within Black community. This contribution of the Congo people in the diaspora also marked all their spiritual practices of Black people, such as Santeria, Haitian Voodoo, Candomblé, etc. Looking at the spiritual landscape of the Black people in the diaspora, one gets a false impression that human practice, the use of the spirits of Nseke, is the only one practice that defines the African spirituality. In order to correct this weak perception, Let us follow a candidate of Impasi, the ancient Kongo school of divine mystery, in his initiatory journey. Our candidate began his spiritual journey from the point one, which is the west in Nseke. So we have Nseke and we have Mpemba. Nseke is this material sphere of existence, this earth and its water, while Mpemba is the holy word of the ancestor. The two words are opposite. Where there is our west, there is the east of Mpemba, and where there is our east, there is the west of Mpemba. So the initiate starts from point one, or from the vicinity of point one, and goes toward point two to point three. So he is evolving counterclockwise. This west to east movement means that the initiate becomes like a child. That is, he has to become pure, innocent, humble, etc. In other words, he has to become receptive to higher spiritual teaching. This is why he goes counterclockwise from west to east. Now, having reached the point three, he will go from the point three to point four, that is, from the east of Nseke to the west of Mpemba. Now, going from east to west is a symbol of dying, which means that our candidate must die symbolically in order to reach the word of the ancestors, the holy ancestors that are in Pemba. Thus, having died symbolically, he is introduced in the word of initiation. He is among the initiators in the forest called Vuela, and there in the Vuela, he is on point at point five, where he will receive spiritual teaching coming from the holy ancestor through the initiators. Finally, he will arrive at point six, which is the east of Pemba. The question here is, where will he go from point six? Will he return to point one as a sign of resurrection in Teke, a sign of return to the community he left for the initiatory process, a sign of return to the human practice of Kongo spirituality? Will he go to a point higher than one? If so, how can this fact be explained? The correct answer to this question determines the journey from Palo to Bukonggo and the wealth of Kongo spirituality. To correctly answer this question, we must remember that the KONGO cosmogram should not be read as a mere cross. No, but rather as a simplified version of the spiral, the central symbol of the divine mystery among the Bantu and other Black people. So, read from the perspective of a spiral, from point 6, our initiate will go to point 7, which is a west higher than the west of Nseke. In other words, the point 4, 5, 6, and 7 are different levels of Mpemba, the holy words of the ancestors. On the cross, the point 1 and the point 7 coincide, but on the spiral, they are two different levels. This situation raises another question. Physically speaking, our initiate will resume his place in the community in Seke after initiation. He will be a newborn. This means that physically speaking, he goes from point 6 to point 1. But the difference is that by appearing to be in Seke, he will now live as one who is in Pemba, among the holy ancestors. His perspective of being is now divinely spiritual. In other words, while physically he is back in the community, that is at point 1 at Nseke, spiritually speaking, he remains at point 5, that is in Pemba, in the pure word of holy ancestor. He lives conscious of being surrounded by the ancestor. Let me here give a little testimony that will help us dissipate some darkness. When we speak about divine and human, it is not in order to disparage the human practice, not at all. The human practice will remain the practice of the majority of the Black people, and the divine practice will remain a practice of a minority, but it is the leading practice that had to be kept sacred from the time of ancient Egypt and was put under the custody of the Congo people, so that it is now time for the Congo people to give it back to the Black people for the Renaissance, which has been supposed to start from the year 2000. So let me here give you a testimony. When I was studying in architecture, we had a course on philosophy of art, which people they were not really enthusiastic about that course, except me, because I was studying metaphysics at that time. So mostly in the class, the teacher will discuss with me rather than the other. And one day he came with the quotations, the notes. He gave me two under 20, which surprised the other students. They say it's not normal. She cannot give you such a lower quotation. You must go and discuss with him. They were seeing the situation from the point of view of the human practice. That is, for them, the teacher was governing by human spirits and who was acting badly. I decided not to join the bandwagon. No, I decided to stay on the divine practice. I realized that I'm a child of God as He is a child of God. God alone controls Him, God alone in Him. So He is controlled not by the spirits of Nseke, or neither by the demon, neither by anything else. He is governed only by the divine spirits of Mpemba. He is governed by the divine Bisimbi and by the spirit of holy ancestors. 1 week later, he called me and raised my note from 2 to 8. And during the exam, I got 12 and I got 10. It was enough for me to graduate. So by maintaining my perspective on the divine, I was not disparaging my brother who was thinking on the human. No, affirming that there are no spirits of Nseke was a means of protecting myself, not of disparaging the human practice. This must be clear. Affirming the divine practice is not disparaging the human one. Now, let us go back to our initiate of capacity. Here, a new question is this. When our initiate was in Seke, before the divine initiation, he was in Palo, or in Voodoo, or Santeria, etc. That is to say, he was in the human practice of traditional African spirituality. Thus, he used the Bisimbi of Nseke and the human Bakisi. Now that he lives spiritually in Pemba, which Bisimbi and which Bakisi will he be using? Remember that in evolving from west to east, our initiate becomes like a child. The old things have passed away. Our initiate will therefore now use the Bisimbi and the Bakisi of Mpemba. The Bisimbi and the divine Bisimbi and the divine Bakisi. For him, the human spirits, the Bisimbi or the spiritual this nature of Nseke, and the demonic Bisimbi no longer exist. Everything in Mpemba is new and divine. These lead us to the conclusion that although being two practices of Kongo spirituality, Palo is an activity of Nseke, while Bukôngo is a practice of Mpemba. Now, I said that our initiate actually lives at point 5 in Mpemba. However, there are different depths in Pemba. All holy ancestors are not at the same level of spirituality. They are not at the same level in the hierarchy of the divinities. Thus, from point 6 to point 7, our initiate will again go from east to west. He will again abandon a veiled personality to go higher in his spiritual journey. This process of spiritual rebirth, moving from east to west, will continue until he reaches the consciousness of the eternal heaven. Ayengele. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this video, please like it and share. More on this subject can be found on my books available at Amazon.